Milling Through History presents Galvarino. When it comes to the age of exploration and the Spanish conquest of South America, there are many stories that come up primarily of the Incan Empire, and yet located south of Peru, between Chile and Argentina, was the Mapuche Indians. Now, their borders reach the southern parts of the Incan Empire, and it is believed that for this particular indigenous tribe, their contact with the Incans helped to give them their first understanding of state organization and helped to develop the Mapuches into a loose geopolitical unit. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because during the Spanish conquest of South America and what they believed was all of the Americas at the time, the Mapuche would end up having themselves fight a war against Spain, and one of the most unique heroes for these indigenous people would arise during this time. It was known as the Arauco War, and the Spanish had entered Mapuche territory during their conquest of what is present-day Peru. Now, during the early days of the campaign, an indigenous native by the name of Galvarino was captured after the Battle of Langulias. As punishment for the insurrection, the imprisoned Mapuches were to have their right hands and noses cut off. However, in the case of Galvarino, both of his hands were cut off, and he, along with all of the other Mapuches, were sent home, and they were to be a warning to all other indigenous natives that if they tried to resist the will of Spain, this would be their punishment. Ironically, what was meant to be a scare tactic instead proved to be a rallying cry, as Galvarino rallied his people to fight even harder against the Spanish invader. After being given his own command of native troops, Galvarino had knives tied to the stumps of his wrists and would be successful in leading his men in battle against the Spanish until Milrapua. At this particular battle, Galvarino met his demise. Now, historians only understand that this particular indigenous leader died at the battle, but the method of his death is greatly debated. Some argue that he was captured by the Spanish and then hung, while others say he had been executed by having dogs unleashed upon him. However, while no one is certain as to what had occurred, there was a side effect which had happened. The Spanish were notoriously known for wiping out native tribes and effectively devastating their entire culture. And yet, because of Galvarino and his ability to have his people rise up and fight back against their invaders, the Mapuche people still exist today in Chile and Argentina. And as such, while he is a little known indigenous hero amongst the people there, his legacy of ensuring their survival guarantees that this part of history is still able to survive to this day. For more information, please consider these suggested titles. Be sure to click on the left-hand side of the screen to subscribe to our show, and on the right-hand side for our latest episode. And we will see you again for the next episode of Milling Through History.